Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action, and how about that reverse 360 no-scope physics from the Illyrian Reavers right off the bat here. We're going to be taking a look at today at a build, a non-DLC build, so this is an all-vanilla high-elf build up against the Beastmen. I'm going to be starting off a series showing off some vanilla builds for you guys who, for whatever reason, can't afford the DLC or chosen to have not to buy it, or, you know, whatever. Definitely want to give you guys some viable builds, so here we go. We've got Techless here, Flamespire Phoenix with some chevrons, Reavers with some more Reavers, Bow Reavers, two nobles on chariots, Tyrnok chariot, and some spearmen. Up against the Beastmen, you can see already the Sons of Goros and these other Centaurs with weapons coming in. We've got Gords with shields. I'm going to throw down an overcast net there to try and keep that advance bogged up. We've got Chaos Poison Warhounds, shielded Minotaurs, Korok's Manrippers here, Gorbel, Malagor, the Dark Omen leading the way. We've also got more Centaurs with great weapons here, hounds and so forth scattered around, but already you can see I didn't really have that many good resources to follow up this net. I mostly just wanted to net these guys so I could pull my forces away. Didn't end up getting that much damage in here. Dropped a couple of flaming Phoenix feces, but nothing super impactful so far. The chariots came forward to again try and break up this Beastman in advance, since I am pretty heavily outnumbered here. Well, not too heavily outnumbered actually in terms of model count. Just by raw model count here, but we're going to throw some fire into those Sons of Goros there, just kind of sitting back for the moment. These chariots are going to be taking some damage, so I don't want to necessarily just sit and let them get completely worked here, but we're going to start to pull them back towards my line here, try and countercharge a little bit. The Flamespire Phoenix drops down for a quick terror route, and the Centaurs hopefully will get quickly terrified away. Looks like the Hounds do get terrified away there. Goreherd's coming forward, but the Centaur's holding out for the time being, which is not great for me. Gorbel's going to come back around, start to smash on the chariot, which is obviously not what I want. You can see here I'm able to kind of draw these two Centaurs with great weapons out of position. We're also going to net, once again, the Sons of Goros, just kind of try and control their movements as much as possible, and these Reavers are able to get some good damage in with their bows. The melee Reavers also charging in quite nicely, and the chariots and the Phoenix all kind of collapse on this one little pocket right here. This is going to allow me to hopefully get a good terror route, get some good shock damage on these two units, and it kind of forces Dutch Skink here, the Beastman player, into a bit of a bad position. I'm also going to throw a Fiery Convocation from Techless right over top this blob here. Does have a pretty long spin-up time, not as long as it used to be, but does some really good anti-infantry damage there, just clearing out multiple infantry units. And yeah, good stuff. Looks like a nice Vile Tide in response from Malagor. He's going to be throwing out a Cygor summon as well here in the back line, so that'll be probably terrifying away. Yep, some of my Illyrian Reavers there and other units. The Noble also, you can see here, this Noble got absolutely wrecked by the Gorbel. Not the best situation for me, and more Reavers, and the Spearmen also getting terrified away there, so very even so far. I've managed to keep this Tyrnok chariot online with all 4 unit models. We are playing on ultra unit sizes here, but yeah, the Tyrnok chariot's still online, the Reaver archers all still online as well, so although this infantry fight just went very badly for me, we did manage to do some good damage. You can see Goreherds with shields here, barely hanging on to their leadership. Same thing here, and the Phoenix is also healthy enough that I should be able to make it work. We're using these mobile units to kind of get out in the periphery. You can see we're going to engage on these Sons of Goros here with my Illyrian Reavers. Although the Sons of Goros being an elite regiment of renown will be a bit of a match here for these Reavers. The Reavers will do alright, certainly. Definitely acquit themselves decently here, especially considering the cost. Summon Cygor is just about down, but my Spearmen have taken a lot of damage. But the Nobles coming back from route here, getting a little danger close in on Gorbel, but I do have the Phoenix kind of hanging around nearby. Looks like the Phoenix is going to go after, try and get some hits on Malagor there. Malagor staying tight with the Korok's Manrippers here, definitely the right idea to help defend against those units. But it looks like we're going to actually net the Korok's Manrippers so that the Flamespire Phoenix can try and fight Malagor a little bit more independently there. The chariots also unifying here, both the noble chariots. Looks like Gorbel's going to be chasing this one here. Probably will get some damage on it, but we should be able to hold up for the time being. Meanwhile, Techless just out on the open field here, and we also see the Illyrian Reavers kind of cleaning up these Goreherds here. Again, anytime you have a mobility advantage like this, since I've been able to beat up most of the Centaurs, just the Sons of Goros barely hanging on here, that does give me a pretty decisive mobility advantage, and I can try and just clean up these routing units as much as possible. Another Fiery Convocation going to go down here. Dutch Skink does actually dodge this one somewhat. I only managed to catch a handful of unit models there, and it looks like my spearmen actually shatter at that, so that's not the best, but I am cycle charging the Noble into the Gorbel, and with his 74 charge bonus and good AP values, he actually can do good damage to the Gorbel if I'm cycle charging him. Meanwhile, over here, Enfeebling Foe on Malagor, and I drop down with the Flamespire Phoenix. Looks like he's going to summon up another Cygor, though. Will he actually get the summon off? Looks like the summon does just barely go off before he gets terrified there, so that's pretty nice for Dutch Skink. That's going to keep the balance power from getting too far out of favor, and again, with that Cygor just kind of hanging around, don't want to keep my Flamespire Phoenix on the ground. I'm going to have to go cut and run, try and find another engagement here. There is still this unit of not Butchers of Calcangard. The Minotaurs with shields here started out with a whole bunch of XP chevrons. They're going to probably catch this Noble and finish him off here if I'm not able to pull away. Does look like I'm just going to be able to barely pull away there. Gorbel looks like he's going to be getting a Mantle of Garok here as well to juice up his attack stats up to 681 weapon strength. But side charging with the Noble there, he's getting shot up by the Reaver Archers as well. Attacked from two directions by two single entities is too much for him. And he actually routes, unfortunately, with those two buffs active. He was scary juiced up, so very happy about that. Now it's just Malagor left. We've got this summoned Cygor here. These Minotaurs with shields could potentially be an issue, so I'm going to need to try and win on leadership, because realistically I can't fight them necessarily 1v1 in melee. Like, I don't really have many units that can fight them. That being said, I do have enough numbers of Illyrian Reavers, and if we have a look at their stats here, I mean, only 45 armor on the Minotaurs with shields, right? So this 32 attack with 27 weapon strength and 40 charge, Illyrian Reavers are shock cavalry, right? As we know with Dark Riders, Illyrian Reavers, the same thing. They really are like cheap Wild Riders, and if you use them as such, they can be very strong. So if I can get a good charge, like a good rear charge on these Minotaurs, that could potentially be a situation to win the game. And you see we get the Phoenix healing proc there, very lucky. The two Nobles are in here as well, and the massive Elftonia charge from all sides. Lance Reavers, Bow Reavers, just everyone getting in here to clean up the last of the foul beasts here. Some nice magic from Malagor. Going to try and continue to sustain, but it will just quickly drift towards army losses, and you can see despite the 56 melee defense of those Minotaurs, they do take a lot of damage from the rear charges and charge bonus and everything, and that's going to be a victory for the High Elves. So yeah, no Ilario. Not even a Star Dragon, which of course is a vanilla unit, and you absolutely can take Star Dragon with this type of a build, but decided to go a little bit wider here, go with the Flamespire Phoenix. It started out, I believe, Silver 1, and managed to pick up a second Silver through the course of the battle there. Lots of kills on the Noble Chariots as well. They are an excellent tool in most matchups, and even there you saw, like in a situation you may not necessarily expect, where I'm charging an enemy single entity, right? It's good. You know, because the charge bonus is high enough, the AP values are high enough, you know, you still can get some good damage. They have 110 armor, and they're very hard to catch. Likewise, you can see the Reavers there, 68 kills and an XP Chevron, 109 kills here. Just do a great job of cleaning up those Beastmen units, and also, again, using them more as shock cavalry, right? Both Dark Riders and Illyrian Reavers are absolutely shock cavalry, so keeping that in mind, especially because... Oh, I mean, Illyrian Reavers are shock cavalry. That 40 charge bonus is solid, right? For a unit of light cavalry, especially around this cost. But their stats are also quite good once you factor martial prowess. I don't know why that's hard to say. Once you factor martial prowess into the equation, then obviously with that extra melee attack and defense, 32 attack, what is that? 36 defense. In total, with 27 weapon strength, 40 charge, also quite nice. In fact, they're only 550 points, means these guys are super cost effective, so you will almost always see me run 4 Illyrian Reavers in most of my high elf builds, because they're so cheap and cost effective right now, and again, using them like cheap Wild Riders, you can get a ton of value from them, especially operating like multiple units kind of in a little group where you can spread them out and then all kind of charge a unit that comes in the center of the formation, right? And to that effect, Eagles are decent at supporting. They don't have terror, but they can provide a bit of extra punch in that kind of mobile engagement. The Phoenixes obviously have the terror. They have armor piercing and magic damage, either coming with a debuff or area of effect damage. The Frostar Phoenix is a little bit expensive, does have heavier weapon damage and better melee defense, and this minus 9 melee attack aura can be very good in a supporting situation, especially like while that martial prowess is still active. You're getting that plus 12 from that with the minus 9, and it's a lot of extra you know, it's a good 20% or so reduced chance to hit on your own units, which is very important. Definitely shrugging off those hits, always going to be better than healing, especially on a cheaper unit where it's not super efficient. To allocate healing to them, like these Illyrian Reavers, when you have those melee defense debuffs, or sorry, melee attack debuffs for your opponent, or you can do melee defense buffs for yourself, right? It just kind of helps out in that way. I haven't really tried too many mobile, like, Tyrion-style builds. I haven't played much with Tyrion, but in theory, up on his horse, I mean, he's 95 speed. He can kind of run around at a similar pace to these Illyrian Reavers and go with a very mobile style of play. Something like this I might be curious to try. And then for Lores of Magic, I might go Shadows here, since I don't really have... I mean, having healing for the Frostheart Phoenix would be nice, but I actually would think something like this, maybe you take the Shadow Mage on the Chariot. I don't know where this build is coming from, really, but been messing around with a little bit with this recently, this Occam's Mindrazor, so I might take Enfeebling Foe, Penumbral Pendulum, and Occam's Mindrazor to buff either the Frostheart Phoenix or Tyrion, and obviously that extra weapon damage on Tyrion, especially while he has the Feint and Riposte active, giving him the extra melee stats. He's going to be a scary combatant for sure. And then from there, we could get a Noble on a Chariot as well, just to fill out all our hero slots. Probably not a bad idea. Come in here and grab some cheap spears just to give us a little bit of numbers. You can see already we're running into the high elf problem of just not having enough money to really put together a competent army here. So we can come in here, maybe grab a couple of archers, and we've got maybe one Lothern Sea Guard just to kind of protect one flank, help protect the archers a little bit. Something like this might be decent. You could, depending on the tournament rule set you're using, you could go in, grab another Reaver. You could maybe grab another Archer, and then maybe upgrade one of these guys. We don't quite have enough for a Reaver Archer, so we'd have to come in and fine-tune a few things here based on, you know, what we want to be doing. But just sort of showing you guys kind of how you can use these Reavers in different ways. And again, this is another kind of all vanilla build, right? And the fact that Alarielle is kind of so prevalent in the meta, I think is a little bit misleading to a lot of newer players. Like, yes, Alarielle's very strong, but honestly, Techless Tyrion and even Lithanar in certain niche matchups are absolutely viable options. You've still got all these powerful Lores of Magic as well. Yeah, just your basic units, your cheap basic units, because the High Elves, you know, they tend to be very expensive across the board. Right now, at least in the meta, I find myself taking pretty cheap wide builds with only a handful of elites, and most of those elites are vanilla units. I mean, some of the regiments for now are pretty decent, but just in general, because the High Elves, their units already tend to be pretty expensive, and so making a more expensive version of the base unit is generally not super cost effective, which is why you don't see their regiments of renown very often. And again, because of the lore choices I mentioned and sort of other factors, they are honestly one of the best factions probably for playing vanilla only builds. So if you do play Total War Warhammer 2 and you for whatever reason haven't, you know, got any of the DLCs, then High Elves may be a faction that you want to consider picking up, because as I've mentioned multiple times, most of their really good units are all vanilla, right? Like your Star Dragon, both the Phoenixes, you know, Reavers, Spearmen, all your basic stuff, your heroes. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I've rambled quite a while after the fact on this one, but just wanted to sort of give you guys an impression of how these guys play without those DLC units. So well, I'll be bringing you more videos like this in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Excuse me. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.